A very good afternoon. Hello and welcome to CNBC-TV18 Mumbai Newsroom. I'm Ekta Batra and you're watching your stocks this afternoon. Well, it's turning out to be a session where we're definitely seeing some amount of weakness and we're not seeing any kind of improvement in terms of the market sentiment at this point in time. We have the mid-cap index, which was the outperformer last week with a gain of around 2% on a week-to-date basis, which has lost most of its ground in today's trading session itself. So it's down around 1.5%. We have a lot of broader market numbers to reckon with. Just a couple of minutes ago, we did have numbers come in from Marksans Pharma. We have Morpen Labs, which has reported an EBITDA decline of around 36% with single-digit margins on a year-on-year basis coming in at 6% versus 8%. So you can see a little bit of disappointment coming in a couple of these mid-cap numbers. Remember that there are a lot of other stocks which have been in focus, the entire Adani group of stocks. Besides that, a lot of result disappointments such as City Union Bank as well, which has been down in double digits in today's trading session. So a lot of ground to cover in terms of questions. I'm sure a lot of investors do have questions considering that it is earnings season. We do have a lot of macro data ahead of us, such as the India CPI for the month of January this evening and the US CPI, which is due tomorrow as well from the US markets. Joining us this afternoon, we have Astha Jain, who is a research analyst at Securities. She's going to be talking fundamentals with us. And we have Rajat Bose from RajatKBose.com to answer all of your stock queries. Afternoon, Astha, as well as Rajat. Welcome to the show. It's a Monday afternoon, a lot of ground to cover in terms of what is a weak session for the markets as well. So let's get to our first question. We have Praveen, who writes to us from Bangalore. He holds 11,000 shares, which he's bought of Tata Steel, bought it at around 450 rupees per share and has been holding it since 2016. Long-term investor and wants to know whether to hold or sell this particular stock. Astha, coming to you, the latest piece of news with regards to Tata Steel is the numbers this quarter. Profit was down over 70% on a year-on-year basis. Revenue declined as well. But it seems as though this investor is a long-term investor, but it's not really done anything for them. Sitting on Tata Steel since 2016, what would you recommend?
Yes, hi Ekta. Good afternoon. See, talking about Tata Steel, first of all, I think there was one corporate arrangement in which we have seen a stock split from 10 to 1. This is what I think. So now the cost price is reduced to that extent. Now talking about Tata Steel, yes, you are very much right that we have seen the results were not up to the mark. In fact, they have seen the softness in their deliveries also as compared to last quarter as well as last year's same quarter. So that we can see, but there is one question to this company is that we have seen their raw material prices have fallen. I mean, they have fallen, and I think that will be helping the company going ahead. And they have a strong capex plan also. So all in all, I think in the long term might be these things work in the favor of company, and we can see some sort of gain in the stock price. But yes, in the near term, there is a subdued demand in the international markets also. If I talk about the steel, so that can also be a dampener for the company in the near term. So in the near term, we can expect stock prices to fall further from here. So now here the long term is the main question. I mean, it is in the main question. If the long term, if he wants to hold it for more than 3 to 6 months, then he can remain invested in the stock. Otherwise, he can exit from the stock because in the near term, I'm seeing some sort of more downside from here.
Okay, Rajat, afternoon. What would you recommend on Tata Steel? Rajat, is my voice reaching you?
Good afternoon, Ekta.
Afternoon.
I would say that, yeah, in the short term, it is weak. Yeah, I can hear you if you can hear me.
Yes, go ahead.
Can you hear me? Ekta, can you hear me? I can hear you. Why don't they?
Analysis on Tata Steel.
Yeah, in the short term, it is definitely looking weak, and if it were to fall below, say, 104 to about 102 with this support area. Yeah, I'm actually talking about Tata Steel only. Tata Steel currently at 109. If it were to fall below 104 to about 102 support area, then it can slide down to double-digit levels. In that case, your near-term target could be anywhere between 99 and 94. But since the investor has purchased it at 45 several years back, he can continue to hold it. Only when Tata Steel takes out 120 on the upside, then it would once again embark on a sustainable uptrend. Till such time 120 is decisively cleared, I don't think there is much to talk about on the upside. On the contrary, if it were to fall below 100, then 94 is definitely a possibility.
Okay, 94 a possibility on Tata Steel if it falls below 100. So that's the word coming in on the technicals. Let's get to another query then. Sachin Mehta writes to us from Gujarat. He holds 100 shares of Asian Paints, which he bought at 250 rupees per share. He's a medium-term investor and wants to know what to do, hold or sell that particular counter. Astha, what would you recommend? It seems as though, Sachin is sitting on a bit of a gold mine here when it comes to Asian Paints. Going forward, what would you recommend? Because the dynamics would probably change. We were just talking to Indigo Paints that there's a lot of competition which is coming in. Grasim, for example, is probably going to launch in the next 1 year. They're coming up with 6 manufacturing facilities. And we have other big players already in the market at this point in time. It's probably going to get more competitive. In that context, do you think that maybe taking some profits off the table now would be correct on Asian Paints, or you can just hold on to the market leader?
So again, here the horizon matters. If he is ready to take some sort of a risk and he wants to hold the stock for the longer term, I think then he can hold the stock. Otherwise, in the shorter term, if he wants, he can partially exit or partially book from this counter. So now what happened? Yes, you have rightly said, the competitive intensities are very much playing, strongly for all these companies in the paint sector, but Asian Paint is the leader. They have a strong retail point. In fact, they have added only 10 in the 9 months ended of December 22, they have added 10,000 more retail points. So that's what I think the leader is looking like. And in fact, we have seen the gross margins have also increased, although the credit can be given to the decrease in the raw material prices, which we think that a case for the coming quarter also. So in the coming quarter also, we can see some sort of uptick in the margins on the basis of a softer input price. So I think in the long term, we can say that Asian Paints can show some more rise from here, but the longer term should be the horizon. If it is a shorter term, then he can partially book profit, but he should remain some holding in he should remain into the some holding of the stock for the longer term also.
Okay, all right. So that's the word coming in on Asian Paints. Rajat, your recommendation on Asian Paints?
At the moment, from a technical point of view, it can go further down, yes. But then major support range is between, say, something like 2680 to about 2600 or 2550. And I would suggest this gentleman who, as you said, that he has purchased it at 250 rupees, is one of the best companies in India. And even though Grasim and others might be coming, JSW, they are coming into this arena. But fighting with Asian Paints, you have to fight with the mindset of the painter. Because even recently, I got my apartment painted, and the painter continued to talk about the glories and the better quality of Asian Paints, availability, everything. And its supply chain management is phenomenal. It's a case study that I'm doing for IIM Calcutta. So I would definitely, I'm looking for an opportunity to buy it at lower levels. Asian Paints is a great stock and he has got purchased at a great price. No short-term profit booking. It's a phenomenal story. And where on earth you would get a 40% plus ROCE on a consistent basis? This is one that provides you that way.
Okay, all right. Very bullish in terms of the market leader there. Rajat, thanks very much for that. That's on Asian Paints, 2,780 odd rupees for that particular counter. Well, let's get in another query. It's another steel query. Abhinav Singh writes to us from Bhopal. He holds 350 shares of JSW Steel, which he's bought at 200 rupees per share. Long-term investor wants to know whether to hold or sell. Well, this is also quite a multi-bagger that, Abhinav is sitting on. Rajat, what would you recommend on JSW Steel? Buy price is at 200 rupees at this point in time. Current market price is 720.
Well, here also the long-term trend is decisively up because the gradient of the 200-day exponential moving average is upsloping, and it is around, say, 690 or so, 688 to be precise. So what I would suggest is, even though this is likely to fall in the short term, might fall and retest that 688 level, but he should continue to hold on because it's a good long-term bet for him. He is sitting on a huge price appreciation. Just carry on. You don't need to do anything. If you really want to book some profits, if it were to sustainably fall below 688, then book part profits. Otherwise, continue with it.
Okay, Astha, your call on JSW Steel?
Even I suggest to him to hold the stock, although initial price targets can be set at around 800 levels. Maybe the stock can move further from here also. But the thing is that although they have not posted very strong set of a number, the revenue growth was almost flattish because they have whatever they have got it from exports. But the poor operating performance due to the inventory losses as well as forex losses. But what I think going ahead will be playing for this company is that I think they will be getting this revenue growth strongly from the volume growth. Apart from that, due to this, whatever we have talked about the Tata Steel also, that the softer input prices, especially of this coking coal, etc., is working in the favor of these steel companies. So that will be helping them in posting better numbers going ahead. So on that basis, I think it can move upwards in the longer term. So yes, I even suggest him to hold it for the long term. However, the initial price targets can be set at around 800 levels.
Okay, initial price targets at around 800 odd levels, and stay on JSW Steel. That's the word coming in on another steel query. The earlier one was Tata Steel. Well, just watch out for a couple of these result reactions. Gujarat Gas, for example, the net profit is down around 8.2% on a year-on-year basis. So there's been some amount of marginal pressure which has come in terms of the margin sequentially. Marksons also came up with a profit growth of 29% year-on-year, but no such luck for Morpen, where the profit has declined 58% year-on-year, and you can see that result reaction coming through. Morpen Labs is down 3.5% at this point in time. Take a short break, but we'll answer more stock queries. Welcome back. Well, over 100 points off the day's high at this point in time. So we're down around 88 odd points for the Nifty. Even the Bank Nifty, which is reeling under pressure, down around 0.6% at this point in time. But the underperformance clearly is within the mid caps, which are down close to 1.4%. Just a quick word from Rajat on the Nifty. Rajat, 17,871, which is the 20-day moving average. We've seen a lot of resistance come through on those levels the whole of last week. What is your sense in terms of today's trading session and the support levels?
Well, you see, Nifty is actually weak. It is likely to go down further. But unless you see that the 200-day exponential moving average, which is around, say, something like 17,570, if this level is not taken out decisively, then this will continue to remain range bound between 17,950 and 17,550. So if 17,550 gets taken out anytime, say, may not be today, maybe during this week, then it will fall further. But otherwise, this range bound activity to continue. But bias would remain negative because most of the moving averages are negative except for the 200-day exponential moving average, which is still very flat kind of situation out there for that. That means still some people have hope that it will sustain above that level.
Okay, all right, but possibly the bias is on the downside at this point. Let's get in another query now. Kushal Das writes to us from Pune. He holds 50 shares of Persistent Systems, which he's bought at around 3933 rupees per share. He's a long-term investor, wants to know whether to hold or book profit at these levels. He is in the money at this point in time. Astha, what would you recommend? Midcap IT has, there is some flavor coming back in the IT space as a defensive this year. What would you recommend on Persistent?
Especially, I like this counter in the whole IT pack. And as a disclaimer, it can be a holding in our PMS also. So now talking about persistent system, yes, I think the stock has a potential to move upwards till the level of 4,900 to 5,000. So I would recommend him to hold because first of all, the company has a lower exposure in the Europe. Another thing is that now they have started reducing exposure from their top clients. I mean, the client concentration risk, which I mean here is started reducing. So that will be acting positively in the favor of the company. And the company has a plan to be a $2 billion by FY27. So if the company has that much of plan, so we can see, I mean, the bottom line of the company will be rising up in order to achieve those targets, and we will be seeing continuously upgrade in their EPS. So all in all, I think the persistent system can be a hold at the present level also, with a price target at around 4,900 to 5,000 level.
Okay, all right. So persistent is a hold. Rajat as well as Astha, we're going to thank you on that note. Thanks very much for joining in and answering all of those queries. Just want to point out City Union Bank, you know, that stock is really one of the big stocks of the day. That stock is now down over 16% at this point in time. So there's a huge amount of negativity which has come through, at least in terms of what they reported on the slippages. And you can see that reflect in terms of the stock price at this point in time. On the upside, a couple of stocks which are managing to hold up quite steadily include something like a Banco Products. That one is small on the radar, but nonetheless, it's seeing a gain of around 10% odd. Oil India is having a very good trading session, so that stock is up around 7% odd. Dishman, we spoke about it just around half an hour ago. That stock is doing well, so up around 15% odd currently for Dishman. But overall, the markets are weak at this point in time. We have the Nifty, which is down 90 odd points, and the mid-cap index, which is shaved off over 400 odd points at this point. It's all the time that we have on the show, but do remember to email us all of your queries and we will address them with our experts. Stay tuned. Closing bell just after a short break.